Good afternoon, everybody. November 13th, 2018. Let's look at the S&P. Let's bring up a daily here in the S&P. You can see it's come down over here to 2727. So, what are the main points to discuss? We always talk about significant points, and we talked about this point being significant on this day, October 24th. And that was 26.52. Remember, we're long from 26.57, and we're still holding, so we're still up 70 points. Now, those of you who don't have a position, so what's the next significant point? Well, it looks like this point is significant right here, June 28th. Traded below the 50, the 100, the 150, and cleared this pivot high. So we got to wait till it kind of comes down. If you don't have a position, wait till it we got to see how it acts at 26.93. So that point is significant right here where the cursor is, 26.93, and this point is significant. The whole game is determining what points are significant. And we like it because the shorter term moving average, the 50s, belong to the longer term moving average, the 200. 50 is greater than the 200. So as long as that holds, we want to wait for that. Okay, let's look at the action today. You know, it was mostly, as you all know, it was in crude oil. Let's take a look at crude oil. I want to take a look at what moved today. Crude oil, CL, look at that. It's down 5%. Now, crude oil still looks good because remember the 50 is still above the 200. So what point is significant? Let's take a look. Obviously, the low of this day is going to be significant. Anything that has a 5% move in a commodity is significant. So this is significant. Look, it's the biggest down day in months, so that's significant. So as long as the 50 holds a 200, we're going to wait to see how it acts around this low. Okay, that's crude oil. Let's bring up a weekly chart, and let's look at some of our positions. So remember, we're long the S&P from 26.57. We're up 70 points on that. Let's look at the dollar. Remember, we're long the dollar at 94. Look at the dollar now. Remember I told you gotta wait. And we got out of some of it at 97. We got out of half of it on a daily close of 97. If we look at a daily, when it closed above this blue line, which was 97, which was yesterday, it closed above 97. We got out of some of it. So we're still in the dollar. From this blue line here, we got in at 94, if you remember. We talked about this months ago, and we got out at 97. If you have 10 contracts on, that's $30,000. These move $1,000 per cent. So 3 cents is $3,000 times 10 contracts is $30,000. These are big moves. You've got to be very, very patient. So that's what we're looking at. Now, we still want to hold this position here. When do we want to hold it to? Well, you want to hold it maybe till the end of the year. So got out of half. We sealed our profits on half of it. Sealed 3 cents on it. Okay, that was our other bit. Now let's look at, so we're still in the S&P. Remember, we didn't get out of it. Now, natural gas, this is a good learning experience for everybody, of patience. When we're out here, I said, be patient, be patient. Look at this, it's at 406. We got in at this blue line at 299. We got out of some last week, which was right here. Hold on for a second. This close above this pivot, a weekly close above this pivot at 372. We wish we wouldn't have got out of it, but we got out of some at 372. So we still have a bit of a position on. So we've made a buck on that position from 299 to 4. That's $10,000 per contract. You have 10 on, it's about $100,000 gain. That's a massive, massive trade, and that shows you you have to be patient. Not only do you have to know entries, and not only does your timing have to be right. Remember I talked about timing being more important than being right? It's better to be wrong and have the right timing than be right and have the wrong timing. So it's all about timing. So naturally, we still got a tiny position on, so we're rolling on that. I'm pretty happy. And the dollar, we're still long, holding a bit of a position. So natural gas, the dollar, and S&P are big ones. Now, remember we got out of gold at 12.28. We got out of it before the Federal Reserve started announcing. We're happy we're out of it because it's a 12.03, so forget gold now. Okay, so let's look at some other charts here. It's all about significant points. You have to determine what point is significant, and then you have to determine a system for getting into that, because you can't just get in randomly on a significant point, because you may be getting in too high during the day. If a significant point only hits at the end of the day when the market's up 300 points, that's not a good time to get into it. If a significant point hits during the middle of the night when you're not around, that's not a good time to go get into it. So the timing of when you enter on a significant point is very important. Also, we talked about we want it to come from weekly oversold, daily oversold, the 50, above the 200. There's a lot of factors in terms. You can't just look at significant points in a nutshell on itself. Too simplistic. S&P, we talked about, we're still long. For those of you who are not in the trade, you got to wait for a pullback. Let's look at Bitcoin. I know you guys love Bitcoin and everybody wants to talk about it. Down, descending triangle. We got to wait for, this is why it's so important. You got to wait for a weekly close above this line. Until that happens, there's nothing to do. So let's be patient. Let's be very, very patient. This line right here. Weekly close means at the end of the week on a Friday, not on a Thursday, obviously. ZB is the 30-year bond. Nothing. Got to wait. Remember, we only buy below the 40 weekly and 200 weekly, and we like buying in support, so nothing to do. ZN, which is going to look like the 30-year, is a 10-year. Down here, no visible signs of support. Let's move this thing. Next one is, next visible sign of support. It's right around here, 117. 117. Let's see here. No, all the way down here. There's nothing to do with it. I don't see any signs of support in ZN. Doesn't mean it won't get up. It just, we're not part of it. 6A is Australian dollar. Remember, it broke this trend line down here. You can see it broke the line right here. Try to test it up here by closing above, and then it closed right above here. It's nothing to do right here till it tests this next support level. 6A is the Australian dollar. 6B is the British pound. We talked about it like the euro. Parabolic move up, parabolic move down. It's holding this trend line, nothing to do. We like it because it's below these, the black and the blue, which is the 40 weekly and the 200 weekly. It's got to get down to support. What's the significant point? We're always asking ourselves that question. This is it right here. Always ask yourself, what is a significant point? Canadian dollar, look at it. It's about to break this uptrending line right here. 1, 2-point trend line. Close below it. We'd like to see a close above and then maybe a close below. Maybe it's a short, but I don't know. Nothing to do right now. It's holding a 2-point trend line. You could have drawn the trend line. Let's take a closer look at it also here. You could have drawn the trend line here, connecting this point here. One point, 2 points. It's a very, very tough trade. It looks like it's breaking this trend line here, so my bias would say short. I'm not a big fan of shorting things, so there's nothing to do right there on the Canadian dollar. This point was obviously significant because it went above the 200 weekly. And this point became significant down here because it went over. So actually, you want to draw the line. Let's take a closer look at this. A few of you have asked about the Canadian dollar, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. It's not a perfect trend line. Right there, closing below. I don't know, maybe a short. But we have positions on. I'm not going to do anything. I like to see it come down to a significant point. Let's save that. I like drawing these lines when I'm with you so you guys can understand what's going on as opposed to me drawing them before. DX, we're laughing. It's at 97. We're still holding it. We got in at this blue line here at 94. We got out of it a partial close above this blue line. So that's going beautifully. 6E, looks like the pound. Parabolic move up, parabolic move down. No significant points in sight. We ain't doing anything. We're not doing anything. We look back on 7 years, see no significant points. Here's the yen. You could see the yen broke this line, remember. Kind of recommended a short over here. I think the yen's going to continue to go down. But I'd rather see it test support. But my bias on the yen is leaning short. New Zealand dollar. Let's take a look here. No real significant points till above here. This would have been significant if it would have cleared this pivot high. But this becomes now a significant point because of the significant move up. So nothing to do here till it gets. Let's draw a line. Till it gets right here. And let's save that. Let's look at the Swiss franc, 6S. This was a significant point. Went above here. This was a significant point. Looks like it's coming down. It's too easy to short though. It's made a move down already. I don't want to short it unless it closes. It's closed above this line. I want to see it close above this line and then close below. So nothing to do there. CL is crude oil. We talked about that. This point becomes significant. The low of the day, 54.75. What we like about it, the 50 is still above the 200. So we love it. Okay. Gold we talked about. Natural gas we're in. High grade copper. Let's look at a weekly. Nothing going on. Let's wait till high grade copper breaks this below here. Nothing going on there. We want to wait till it tests a significant level. This was a potential buy at 262.90. Recovered the 200 weekly on a red bar close, which we like. Got nothing to do right now. You can buy it with a stop at 262. That could be a possible buy in copper. I checked the pairs. There's nothing going on the pairs. Remember, on these pairs, you want them below the 200 weekly. As soon as you see stuff not below the 200 weekly, forget about it. You're buying too high. So dangerous. This is below the 40 and the 200 weekly, but let's see it test this significant point right here. This is the pound Australian dollar. Here's the pound Japanese yen. Nothing significant till down here. Let me move the cursor here. Down here, where my cursor is. And here, nothing significant. So let's just review. We're holding our positions on the dollar. We're out of most of our natural gas. We're holding our positions on the S&P, dollar, natural gas, mostly out. And let's take a look what I reckon. And copper could be a buy right here. The stop at 262. Low risk trade. And let's take a look. We talked about the Japanese yen. Let's take a look at the yen again. Yen is 6J. Yeah, you could see this point was significant. It went above both averages. This point was significant. Also went above both averages. So you got really a 3-point trend line, which it closed below, then closed above here, and then closed below. So it's a failure. So if you're short, the stop would be 89, the top of this bar, 89.90, somewhere around there. But then you're shorting very low. So possible short on a small position on the Japanese yen. Let's take a look at a few other charts here. A lot going on in the markets. You got to check everything. Check it, double check it, triple check it. Here's the Australian dollar. So let's take a look at the euro. No, nothing going on. So that's about it, guys. Holding the S&P, holding a small portion on the dollar. We're holding natural gas, but we're mostly out. For those of you who want to buy copper, you could buy it now with a 262 stop, and we're a small position short on the Japanese yen. Let's take a look. Take a look at the monthly chart and some of these other things. We haven't looked at the monthly in a while. Not the cross. Here's the Australian on a monthly. Nothing to see here. Next significant level is over here, so nothing going on the Australian on a monthly basis. You could see here how it held this point over here. Went up and then went down. You could say this point was significant because of the move up from here. Next significant point is over here. All about determining what's significant. Let's look at the Canadian, the monthly. This is inverse the Canadian. This is the US dollar versus the Canadian. Nothing going on there. Swiss franc. Remember, on the monthly, we want to buy below the red line. This is the 5-year monthly moving average. Nothing here, nothing here. That's the euro. Here's the pound. This is a significant monthly chart right here, so nothing here yet. You only need a few trades a year to make it. And here's the Swiss franc versus the US dollar. Nothing going on here. The next significant point is here. So I really see nothing for the time being in those contracts. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. And it's Tuesday, so we should be reconvening on Thursday. Our sessions will generally be 3 times a week, usually 2 times during the week and 1 time on the weekend on Saturday or Sunday. And for those of you who want to sign up for the free trial, and you get signals as they're happening, toptradingsignals.us. Okay, thanks, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.